In a world where the podcast multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little, two dudes must become something greater than themselves, something elemental, something terrifying. A podcast. With great podcasting, there must also be great responsibility. To show the multiverse that it's full of people ready to believe in good. The multiverse will hunt us. They will send the dogs on us, because that's what needs to happen. But it won't be ready to hear from us. Not us, united. Organic opening.
Welcome back.
So anyway, I told him, I was like, get off me,
Yeah.
you jerk.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
Oh, whoa, are we
Whoa.
recording?
Nick, I put this microphone in front of you very sneakily that middle of that conversation where you're telling me about that guy
Yeah.
at the bar.
Joey, what's his...
Joey Two-Face
yeah.
Magoo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was his legal name.
Yep.
Yeah. But well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here at this podcast. I guess it's a podcast.
I guess. For the most part.
But we are a weekly podcast powerhouse that exists to see people interact with and see cinema a little differently.
That's right.
We find the good, the bad, and the wild in all that we do. And we're glad that you chose to listen to us. Not United.
Oh, dude.
Now, Nick, if Joey Two-Face, whatever his Magoo was here,
Yeah.
and he heard that intro, do you think he would be a fan of Not Us United?
I think he would stop running from us and be like, you know what, these guys seem pretty cool.
And face us like the man he should be.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. He visits us on the night of our podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, hey.
Visit us on the podcast. Jimmy Two-Face, Magoo. It's me, Jimmy Two-Face.
So how quickly can we derail a podcast? Literally from the start?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most of ours, I love doing our podcast in one take because there's this electricity where we're both looking at each other knowing, oh no.
I don't know what's happening next.
At some point, if one of us doesn't just show up, we are screwed. And it's happened like at least half of our episodes where we both look at each other and it's like, oh no, I'm about to finish what I'm about to say, and he doesn't look like he's ready to say something next. And then we're just like,
And thanks for listening, everyone. It's been a good week.
yeah.
I think that's happened a few times where, not that we were done necessarily, like,
No.
we were like 50 minutes into a podcast and we're like, didn't have anything else, and we're like, well, good time.
Oh, for sure.
Good time to end a podcast.
Yeah. But there's definitely those ones where it's like,
2
we
minutes
started
in.
and we're 2 minutes in, we're like, oh no. How do we transition? Joey Two-Face. This is somehow... Anyway.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Joey Two-Face and his cousin Jimmy Two-Face. Well, I think there's no better way to start the conversation than, we honestly didn't even talk about what episode we're doing right before this, but we're gonna be reviewing Everything Everywhere All at Once, right?
Correct. Yes.
And that is the newest film out in theaters that you can watch on a cinema screen.
Yeah.
And some people may ask, what is that movie even about? I never heard of this movie.
Yeah, and we're not going to tell you anything about it.
No, I think if you don't know anything about it, please just go watch it.
Yeah, listen to the rest of this, catch up intro, and then pause. On your way to the movie theater to go see this, pause it, go see the movie, then come back, stay up late, listen to us,
Yep.
Not Us United.
Yep.
And you're going to really enjoy it.
Yep, I agree.
But yeah, so I'm glad that you told us what episode we were doing. 'Cause
Yes.
it would have been awkward if I was like, no, it's not that one. And you're like, oh no, now what do we do? Again,
Yeah.
off the rails.
Yeah.
But we're fine.
We're just
good.
we're
good.
basically an improv show every single week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cruiser Zavala.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy. Well, why don't you catch the listeners up on what you've been watching or reading or doing this week, Nick?
I'd love to because
No one saw it, but you had the
I love
most
to. I would love,
vigorous
I would
nod.
love to.
It was like, yeah.
Dude, I've been itching to record again with you. It's very fun.
It's always a pleasure.
And I've actually finished a few shows
Whoa.
since our last rendezvous.
Nikki K.
And one of those was my rewatch of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I'm getting geared up for season 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I would need about 6 weeks being a new father, didn't want to like, play it's like, hey, I probably can do this really fast. I only needed 10 days.
Wow.
Somehow, I finished all 3 seasons.
With a child.
It's insane. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know how it happened, but I think it was mostly just...
Do you think that speaks to the quality of the show, or?
Well, 100%. Like, my wife and I were both, like, excited to go back and listen to it, or... Oh, wow. We're podcasting. Listen to it.
We're live, folks.
Watch it again.
Unedited.
But, yeah, unedited. We were excited to watch it again. But I think we were, like, wanting to make sure that we gave it, like, its time, because it's like, there's no rush. We've got, like, till the end of May, and that's for just the first 5 episodes of that season, because Netflix needs to keep people for longer than a month. So they're separating this thing now. And so, but no, there's a lot of nights where it's like, hey, Darcy's, like, asleep, and it's 7 o'clock, 2 episodes. Boom.
Yeah.
She wakes up, feed her, maybe finish another episode, and then we just blaze through it.
That's awesome.
And it actually is pretty short, considering it's 8 episodes for season 1, 9 episodes for season 2, and 8 episodes for season 3. So it's
not
pretty
too bad.
straightforward.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was like under 2 weeks. So we're done.
That's insane. So give me your rundown, your review of what was improved. What did you like more? What did you not like more? What was new with the second take of Eyes?
Yeah. Well, this is actually my 3rd time.
With your third take.
Sorry, I didn't clarify. But I just want to make sure
yeah.
that people are aware. But I think after 2 watches and then 3 years of waiting, I was like, I'm pretty sure season 1's the best, season 2's kind of rough, and season 3 is like pretty good. And now I actually enjoy all 3 seasons more than I thought I did. But it is a house rule that we skip 1 episode in season 2.
Yep. Everyone knows which one that is.
And everyone knows what that is. I think it even catches you up maybe with like a previously on, or there's like a flashback in the next episode of the previous episode. And so it's like, oh, you don't even need to like see that episode, because they don't even touch on it in season 3.
Yeah.
So it just kind of felt like their experimental episode.
Yep.
It's episode 7 of season 2, if you're really needing to know. But like still overall would say that they're all 3 great seasons of television. Even though I'm saying you can skip one of the episodes. But I'm actually going to say that season 3 really stuck with me more emotionally than I remember it hitting. We just finished it, and that final episode really sets the bar, and it kind of made me realize like how sad... I don't want to get too much into it, because I do think it could be good content to discuss later on, but I think it's a beautiful setup for season 4, especially like if you're like, oh, in about a year we'll be able to watch this, but then like the combination of it coming out 6 months before the pandemic, everybody in the show is now popular as crazy, like everyone except for like 2 of the characters are like making a bunch of movies. So this like hiatus of almost 3 years, like when I was watching that final episode, I was like, wow, I'm just like feeling it. I'm like, I'm ready to be like in season 4 now, because woof, that's been a long time.
It has been.
It's almost like half the length of the show has been running. Like it started in like 2016, and so it's like literally 3 years of its time has been
insane.
Gone. So no, really enjoyed it. But no, I think we should revisit it maybe before season 4, or discuss season 4 and all of it. So it's good stuff.
I would definitely at least like to do a season 4 episode, and I would not mind going back, because I think I had a similar frame to you, where loved season 1. Yep. Great season. I was pretty disappointed by season 2 and didn't love season 3. Yeah. I thought it was good, but I was like, where are we going? And I think this is where we're going. Like season 4 feels like now we actually have something going on. So I think that's going to be good for me. But I would like to revisit it.
Yeah. It definitely feels like, honestly, it doesn't feel like a Netflix show, in the sense that like Netflix never lets a show go beyond like 3 seasons unless it's just something insane. Right. There's very few shows that do it. And this show must have just known ahead of time, like by how popular season 1 was, that they just didn't make the directors or the writing team force it. Because, like, neither of those could have been an ending.
No.
Season 2 or season 3
No.
don't end in a way that's like, oh, we have finality.
Yep.
So this can end and be canceled.
Yep.
They clearly have left this to be like, we're not going to show any of our cards if we don't have to. We're just going to play them like one at a time.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome as long as the rest of it gets made. Netflix sometimes will be like, hey, show
You're
that
done.
just got good, you're canceled.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Stranger Things is going to do it.
No, I mean, that's like their pilot
pumping in.
show. So.
Yeah. So I think we're fine. But
I think especially now they're like, oh, let's hold on to something that.
yeah. But I agree. I think those 2 seasons could have benefited from probably having a little more finality in it, especially if it was not going to
Yeah.
go on.
I just think I also just think this is a topic for me that I just really want. I don't want things to just drag out.
Agreed.
Like I don't want like 12 seasons of Supernatural. Like
Right.
I don't want like The Flash. Like I think was a really big nail in the coffin for me. It's like you guys could have done 4 seasons and had a great show.
Yeah.
Like obviously great. You know, all these people are making money and it's really cool and people are enjoying it. But like I just want like really crisp, clean, like well done things. And I don't like filler where like if 16 episodes are filler, then no.
Right.
Not that Stranger Things had that many episodes, but I still felt like enough of it was filler for me to be like, eh.
Yeah. You're good. No, I'm with you. I think there's definitely a episode per season that I would say is like definitely that. But I think too, the way they display the show itself is that every episode is considered a chapter.
Sure.
And I think I've told you this before, but like when I look at it through the lens of a board game, of like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, there are those typical scenarios where maybe you get through the first level of the cavern and then it ends with, oh, but you heard an ominous laugh in the end. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
You know, and they kind of do that. And so sometimes I feel like that can be seen as dragging or stalling. But I feel like for the most part, it always is at least progressing every episode for the most part. Like, it doesn't feel like there's ever just a show where it's like, and now we need to pause, except for episode 7 of season 2. And that's why I just say, you're right. That's the one filler, and it feels so different.
Yeah, I think with that off the table even, it's like there's still like enough of me where it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Well, where are we going? I don't So I felt 2 and 3 could have been condensed into like maybe 1.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be curious to see what they do in 4 and if it truly does continue to drag on. And there is some cool, like, they always revisit like certain paths. Like Hopper always tends to have to be the guy who's going in at the end. You know, Dustin typically gets to be the guy who like cracks the code or whatever. Like they all kind of have their roles, and sometimes they repeat it, but it almost feels like a way that's like, ah, that's right,
That's my characters,
he's the bard, or like he's the whatever, you know, like that's what they do. But if they were to do season 3 over again in season 4, just a new bad guy, I think it's gonna feel a little rough.
Yeah.
But this already feels different from the trailer, from them splitting it into 2 halves, and I think from what I've read, the episodes themselves aren't going to be that 48 to 50 minute range. They're actually going to be closer to an hour to like hour plus.
Jeez.
So it's almost like a season finale episode every episode. So we could be getting a little extra time to fill out some story.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right.
I'm excited.
Cool.
But
Cool.
That's kind of the big thing I've been watching.
Nice. Right on.
The other thing I finished, which I won't talk in any detail of, is I did finish Moon Knight today.
I have not, so he's saving it. Okay.
I think we will probably visit it.
I think we could do an episode on it.
Yeah. So, anyway,
Okay. Cool.
I'll leave it at that. But just so you know what I've been watching.
Ah, man. I wish I could finish it. I'm gonna hold off a little bit longer.
It's okay. You get to see Doctor Strange before me, so this is my way of, seeing something else.
I'd like to remind the fans that there is a bottle of wine on the line for
Yes,
this
there is.
episode or for Doctor Strange. If Tommy Cruise is in Doctor Strange, someone. I owe Nick a bottle of wine.
What
Tommy
if there's
Cruise.
multiple Tom Cruises? Multiple wines?
No.
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
You're,
I won't push it. I won't push
You're
it.
stretching. You're stretching even getting one bottle of wine, Nick. I'm helping
Stretching
you
more
out.
than John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, calling it.
That's my guess. That's my guess.
He'll be in it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's why I get a bottle of wine. I'm just kidding.
It is wild to be living in a time where there's guys who people on the internet can be like, this seems like a cool casting, and then Marvel's like, F it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's just do it for 5 minutes. Who gives a shit? It's like, dude, what a time to be alive.
Yeah,
If nerds only were able to have this power, like,
forever.
all of time. What have you been watching, Sir Michael?
Well, this week I revisited, for whatever reason, I revisited the Lego Batman movie.
You have to.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I think it was because of the Batman, Robbie Pattinson.
You're just like, this really piqued my interest. Got to watch the next best Batman movie. Obviously, the Lego Batman.
Well, I just saw the Dark Knight trilogy a month or two ago. Just rewatched it again. I was like, well, I don't really like the Keaton ones that much. They're not my favorite, and I just had a pretty lukewarm to almost negative opinion about Lego Batman when I saw it the first time. And going back, I was completely wrong.
Yep. Dude, Legos are...
The Lego movie is up there. It was one of my favorite movies. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Love it. And this Lego Batman felt too chaotic for me to be like, oh, it's just too much. But then I don't know. I think you just gotta. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's just nonsense. It is just nonsense. And I think there is a random heart to it that's like, oh, it's kind of a great look at what Batman is.
Yeah.
So I definitely changed my opinion on that. I think it was like maybe a 5 or a 6, and I bumped it up to at least a 7.5.
Damn, better than Star Wars. Sure.
Do you want to explain your Star Wars?
Oh,
we had it today. Yeah.
In a previous episode, we'd love for you to go back and listen to it. I'm not going to tell you too much, so you have to go back and listen to it. But
yeah,
I may have had a hot, controversial take, which really, in retrospect, isn't that hot of a take.
I really don't think so. The more I think about it, the more you're right.
Star Wars, as a whole, just the saga, the Skywalker saga, altogether, 7 out of 10, I think is being pretty good.
All in 6 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, yeah. 3 more.
Oh, got it. I was more leaning towards what you did for meals.
Oh, my bad.
But this is fine too.
Well, we are recording this, so you guys will be hearing this 2 days later, but we are recording this on May the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what movie 7 out of 10. You haven't heard May the 4th. Not from us United. So tonight, for our group, I made special themed cuisine.
Yeah.
From Star Wars.
Yeah,
so
that's
I have
delicious.
a Pit Boss pellet grill.
Mm-hmm.
So we made some Sarlacc Pit Boss burgers.
Yep.
Holler. We had some French fries, so we called them Force Sensitive French fries.
Yep.
They're the best.
I was feeling something after them.
They were super good.
Yeah.
We had little Yoda cucumbers,
Yep.
which are just basically cucumbers in the shape of Yoda.
Yeah. Artfully designed.
And then we took some almond bark, dyed it with food coloring, and made some pretzels that look like lightsabers.
What?
What?
Almond bark?
Yeah, that's what that chocolate is. It's almond bark is like a different type. It's like anytime you have like festive pretzels like that are white pretzels. Yeah. That's almond bark. It's kind of like a thicker chocolate.
Oh.
It's not just white chocolate.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just like frosting or whatever.
No.
Oh, well,
that's
delicious.
Why it's hardened, because it's chocolate. It turns into.
Wow, I'm learning new things.
There you go.
Wow. Not Us United. Also an educational podcast.
Yes. But it just shows you that even though movies can be not your favorite, you can still celebrate them.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, let me tell you this.
Hey, let me tell you this.
Okay.
Your Italian came out there for a second.
This is why Joey Two-Face was running for me. We'll bring it full circle. As a man who loves the MCU, I would probably argue that if I rated the entire MCU as a number, that'd still probably be around 7 as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I probably think it's almost a little higher.
Yeah. I mean, there's some great movies. I don't know if there's any 10 out of 10s. Maybe one.
Well,
maybe
okay.
2.
This is okay. Yeah.
And so anyway,
new podcast time.
Okay. No, you're good.
But I think just real quick, I think there are about 2 great Star Wars films. Hands
Yes.
down great.
Yeah.
Some middling, some pretty bad. I think there are like 3 or 4 great Marvel movies.
True.
But there are more of them that are like
the ratio still isn't
that's
quite.
true.
You know what I mean? So I'm
That's
just saying,
true.
like, I think it's not a bad thing to say an entire universe
Oh,
of
yeah.
movies is 7 out of 10 when, like, some of them are 4s and 5s,
Mm.
and some of them are, like, 8s, 9s, and I think there are a few 10s
Yeah.
in the Marvel universe. But anyway, I think it comes off as
a
this
good point.
controversial thing, but it's like, look, 7 is still, like,
Good.
dope.
Yeah.
And that's for everything. I didn't say that A New Hope is a 7 out of 10. I said
Yes.
the Star Wars.
When you average all the scores
all
out.
the wars over the stars. 7 out of 10.
Every single war that's ever been starred.
Yes.
Well, let's just say The Lord of the Rings is obviously a 10 out of 10 franchise, so we can all agree
Yeah.
on that.
Sure.
Um,
But if you took it with the Hobbits, 7 out of 10.
jeez. Maybe.
How can 3 10s bring 3 4s back to? Anyway, it's fine.
That's a topic for maybe another night.
Agreed.
Um,
It was just a little tangent.
Yeah.
Because you and I are kings of tangent.
the Kings of Tangents. That is what we are, Nick.
I hope that sticks.
Well, Olivia said it. So,
Yeah.
in our latest podcast of Doctor Strange, if you haven't listened to that, go ahead and give that a listen.
Get ready for part 2.
Get ready for part 2. Well, this week,
Okay.
I think we can move into what our feature film is going to be reviewed
Yes.
this week. As mentioned, it is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. It is the newest Michelle Yeoh from, you might know her from Crazy Rich Asians. She is the leading actress in this. It's her newest film about something.
About something.
And I don't know how we're going to do spoiler free in this.
I don't know either, because I think before seeing this movie, Nick would have been like, what is this movie about? And like, I watched a trailer and it kind of told me, and I was like, everyone keeps saying that this is a good movie, so maybe I just go see this.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what I'm like gonna tell you, the listeners.
You're
as
taking the
well,
Michael
is,
route.
Like, I don't think you need to know anything about this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you just need to know that it's a sound cast, not necessarily like full of people
you'll
that
be
you
like,
would
oh, yeah.
immediately recognize,
Mhm.
but everyone that has a significant role
Great.
in this movie. I shouldn't say that you wouldn't recognize. I mean, like, there's some absolute like stars in this movie. But I just think like how they're used and how you would expect them to be used isn't how you would,
Yeah. It's unique.
very unique.
It's extremely unique. It's nothing like I've ever seen in something before. I mean, like, I don't even want. Yeah, I knew very little going into this movie, and I enjoyed knowing as little as I did because everything was just surprising to me. Everything was like a journey as I was figuring it out.
Yeah.
I think, man, I think we are gonna really, at least I'm gonna really, really toot this movie's horn. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, toot away, my guy.
But I
you
think
won't hear that from me very often, but toot all the toots. You know what I mean? Get them out of your system.
But I feel like this is like, man, this is why we do watch movies.
Absolutely. This movie is an experience for sure. But there is something special about this film that I told Michael when I left that said, I don't know if any other medium could have captured what film did for this story.
Yeah. This movie is impossible to write as a book.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, you have your Lord of the Rings that are some of the best movies of all time, but they're also really good books. So good that they had to make movies about them. I don't think you can write a book about this movie and it make any sense. It has to be visually experienced because there are just certain things that happen.
Millisecond long.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and your brain can hardly process it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't. This has to be a visual experience. For sure.
Yeah. Even if you described certain moments of this film, it kind of defeats the purpose of it. It defeats the purpose of this unknown kind of like, here's a billion things happening,
Yeah.
everything everywhere all at once.
Exactly.
Like, and if you took like a page to describe that, it's like, well, now you understand some of the things that you're even seeing.
Yeah. And honestly, like, as it's explained, without the proper context of watching it, it's not going to sound significant either.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be things that when we get into spoiler talk of, like, weapons that are used or types of
Interactions.
props or
Yeah.
thing, it's just like, I can't explain that to you, and it sound maybe even good at times.
Yeah.
But, like, with the proper context, knowing what the story is trying to achieve,
Yeah.
you're along for a ride. You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of...
The only way we could talk about this movie is having seen this movie. I can't talk
Mm-hmm.
to someone and be like, yeah, there's this part where this happens, and then they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, that was the hardest part, like, talking to my wife, Kate, after the movie. I was like, I do really want you to watch this. I think there's going to be parts of this movie that kind of turn you off, and I want to kind of try to explain those to you so that you would watch this. But in the process of talking about it, I could just tell I was losing her.
Yeah. There are some weird moments.
Right.
And some there was like, this is not for everybody.
Yeah. But it's an A24 movie.
Yeah.
I mean, A24,
But
I
not
feel
in like a bad way, not in like a creepy way.
but I just think, like, A24
Makes
is trying to do something that's A24.
Yeah.
You know, not that, like, it's a universe of movies that always has this. But I do feel like they're kind of like, here's our movie, and then here's this little something that, like, maybe
Yeah.
either pushes it over the edge of uncomfortable, or pushes it over the edge of violent, or
Yeah.
pushes it over the edge of,
silliness.
serial or spiritual or
Yeah.
something, you know?
I do think, and I'm an A24 fan. We all know this.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that what at least they do is something that's like, hey, it's at least going to be different. It's at least going to
Correct.
be unique.
And for the most part, I mean, like, pretty solid, too. They're not this, like, indie group that's just trying to make these ethereal things that just don't make sense. And,
Yeah.
like, this does a good job
It
of...
could go down the direction of like pretentious.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely those types of, like, you didn't get it, you know?
It's
blah,
black and white
blah.
because it's art.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. No further questions, Your Honor. That was the best. Black and white, because it's art. Yes, that is, yeah, you're right. I guess the overall thing you should know about the film is that there is a main character.
Good start.
They're dissatisfied with their life,
Yeah.
kind of daydreaming about what could have been,
Mm-hmm.
and an opportunity presents itself that maybe could change your life.
Yeah.
And that's about all you need to know,
Yeah.
I think. And that should hopefully be enough of a hook to be like, whoa.
Yeah, I think
What's
as
the
secretive as we
sale?
are, I think should tell you about the movie.
Yeah.
To be like, do we want to give just a score, or do we want to just be like, go see it?
Yeah, well, you can do a score.
Okay.
Yeah, we can still do spoiler free. Yeah, score. Sure. What are you thinking?
I don't know.
Are you wanting me to go first so then you can be like, oh, okay, good, because I was going to do this.
No. Because if you go first, I'll probably just do the same thing, and I don't want to do the same thing.
Good.
So I think,
We're too agreeable.
yeah, I
Except
think,
for Ready Player One.
yeah, I think, regardless of my score, this is why we love cinema. And this is, I'm not giving it a 10, but I do think this is why we watch cinema. I think this is why the art form is so interesting to us. I know there are beats for people that like really hit them, and it didn't hit me because certain situations are not in my exact situation. And some
Right.
people I've listened to reviews are like, oh, like this is my exact life and stuff. Well, you know, obviously
Yeah.
on art in an art form, but like for me, like it was just an extremely wonderful experience.
Absolutely.
and it's really hard to rate it because it is like a 20 out of 10 in that respect. But for me, I think as the movie as a whole, I'm going 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okay, I thought you were really gonna like drop
6.
it. I was like confused. Yeah. Okay. I'm not adjusting according to what you said.
9.1.
But I was like, oh, well, I was gonna go with 9.2. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So now that we have our scale established, one of the things that I said was 8 is where you start to just be like, hey, you have to see this movie.
Yeah.
And this is for sure at least an 8. Like,
Without a
I
doubt.
think people need to see this movie.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Just based off of that alone.
It. Damn, I just want to go into spoilers. There are a few things that I just don't know if I can really knock it for it though. I don't know. It's at least an 8.5. I'm
Okay.
trying to think if it's a 9. I think it. Shit. I think it is a 9. Yeah.
Oh, I did it. I persuaded
I
you.
think. Well, no. I was like, it has to. This clearly did something different, and it totally delivered.
Yeah.
I
that's
think
exactly what it should be.
the only knock I would give is there were just a few creative choices, and there was a few beats that I just kind of felt like, for how good the rest of the movie was, there were some times where it was like, oh, that kind of stuck out as like this, it just wasn't like 100% consistent. But
Yeah.
it's like, dude, when it's hitting, this movie is insane, dude. This movie is crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was thinking 8.5. So I think I'm gonna stick with 8.5.
Okay. Let's be a little. Let's be a little fight.
gonna-
Let's fight.
I'm gonna do 8.5 because I do think it does enough more than just being good enough to recommend.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's doing good enough as it's separated itself. I connect with it on a more personal level after just being a good movie.
Yeah.
That I feel like I would be surprised if this doesn't end up on. Can I tease our next project?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we've kind of talked about it.
Have we
maybe.
talked
I
about
don't
it
know.
already?
I don't think
I don't
so.
remember.
But go ahead.
So we're going to recreate the IMDb top 250 in our image, not us United's image.
As God intended.
Yeah, we're gonna go through and basically tell you which ones we'd keep on and which ones we would take off. But it's gonna be made through our preferences. So there are times when I can tell Michael no. Like, I can veto, like, a choice that he makes, and he can veto a choice that I make, because we'll each take 5 movies at a time. And when that happens, we'll be left with empty slots of the top 250. I'd be very surprised if this movie doesn't end up in the top 250.
I would agree wholeheartedly.
So let me say that. It's like, it's an 8.5. There's a few things that make me uncomfortable about it. There's some times where I'm just like, it lost me. But, dude, it's insane.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. I think that's a really, really great dissection of the movie. I think we have to go spoilers. So please, if you have
go
not
see
seen this
this.
movie, do not listen for another second until you come back and watch it.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we just go chronologically or what? Or just kind of jump around?
This movie doesn't go chronologically.
Yeah,
So
fair.
it just pops off.
I think for me, the moment where it clicked was, and we were like sitting in the theater, and they were kind of explaining how things worked, and there was this map of like, okay, you jump to this universe, you have to cut the in between your fingers 4 times, and we're like, that's how the mechanic worked, and like I think it clicked for us at that time.
Yeah,
I was
because
like,
there was
oh,
like a
got
few
it.
other scenarios that happened without
Where they're
it
kinda
being
doing stuff,
explained,
yeah.
and then the paper cut was
Yeah.
the first time we were told you have to do something random to multiverse jump or
Yeah.
whatever.
And I think this movie does a great job of explaining things and just not explaining things, and it works somehow.
agreed.
It's just like, hey, there's this. Don't really think about it, but because we're just going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it works super well.
Yes, 100%. I agree. Honestly, like, I'm a little upset that this came out so close to Doctor Strange that's literally has multiverse in the title, whereas Everything Everywhere is kind of like a secret, but this is a multiversal movie. It's tackling that. And I feel like this was maybe the best
way you could even do that.
Best way to ever deliver that package.
Yeah, it's
Ever.
insane. It's insane that this movie exists.
Yeah.
This got made for like, I don't know, $40 million or something like that.
I need to see its budget because
it's stupid. It's stupid cheap. Because like a modern blockbuster is like $150 or something $1 million, and this was so low. And what they did with it, and it's like a team of like 10 people or something like that.
Yeah.
This movie is insane.
Yeah.
It's how they did it is impossible.
It's wild, dude. Like, this was that movie that, and this is why it's funny, because we're both saying, like, it's not perfect, but I think both of us left that theater going, this is what you and I would want to do one day.
Yeah.
Is like this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like, it's small scale in that the set doesn't really change all that much. Like, it's not this globe-trotting
Epic, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's literally takes place in like a corporate office for like 75% of the movie.
I didn't even really notice that until you said it. I was like, oh yeah, it is kind of like a sandbox, or like
there's just few scenes where they go out where you just revisit her multiversal people, and that's it. The rest of it's in this office, and then that's it. And I mean, it's a movie about where like there's a black hole made of an everything bagel. I mean, dude, like this movie. This is why I said, dude, you can't talk about this movie and it sound
make any sense at all.
But like, yeah, the creative decisions that were made, the silliness in that here's what we can do in film, so watch this, is just so our cup of tea.
Yeah,
that this movie just it just hit us, and we both would look at each other and just be like, dude,
this is
nice.
This is it.
I mean,
with every new concept that got thrown in there, and then they bring it all back.
Yeah.
Like a throwaway thing, like
Yeah.
Raccoon Tooie. Oh, it's so, and it's like they keep coming back to it, and then there's like redemption in the end, where like all these separate like universes, like a throwaway universe that's like haha joke, and it comes back. Oh, it's so perfect.
Yes.
It's so good.
And that's why I think, honestly, that's why it's so hard to talk about, because you almost need to lay the foundation and explain why, when it does make sense, that it's so great.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how to do it. This movie
yeah.
figured out how to do it, and you just need to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
The only thing that like you just need to be wary of is it just is so far out there that
There's a moment.
there are just some things in this multiverse, dude, that are just, and I get it. Like, I get why they did what they did. Did it have to be those things specifically? Absolutely not. But there was like, there's a world, okay? Guys, girls, stay with me. There's a world, okay? Where
this is the director's pitching it to
everyone
studio.
has normal bodies except for all of their fingers are hot dogs. And it's perfect.
And they could shoot like
well, when you bite them, they squirt out mustard and ketchup. It's not right, dude. It's not right. It's uncomfortable, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then like they have that silly thing, and that could be like the moment where like she transfers and then her like comes up with T-Rex arms. She can't use her arms, but then her feet are like better, and that comes out to be like her feet. They use their feet more. Like that could have been such a dumb throwaway thing.
Right.
But what makes this so good is that it ties everything up.
Yes.
And there's like a subplot within a subplot within a subplot where like her and Jamie Lee Curtis are like wanting to be romantically connected or something like that. But in this other universe they're fighting, but in this other universe they're like friends, and it's just like it's just like there's so many layers to everything that's happening, and they have freaking
And you
hot
don't get-
dog for fingers.
And you don't get lost somehow.
No, I know.
It's wild.
It's insane.
Yeah. But I looked over to Michael, and you know the Glizzy fan that he is. He loves a good hot dog. I mean,
I think this is the moment. I think we have to share it now, Nick.
go ahead.
I don't even know how to share this. But you fans of Naughty United have heard the term glizzy maybe pop up every once in a while. And I think what makes me love this movie more is this whole stupid thing that has come up between us. So, I don't even know how this started. But it's out 6 months ago, something like that. Nick and I are playing some games online, and we're just hanging out, and I slip into like a Canadian accent, you know, oh hey, gotta go down to the canoe and get a moose, eh? Sorry to all our Canadian listeners out there.
Yes.
But oh hey, yeah, Tim Hortons, and I said Tim Hortons, and I'm like, oh yeah, you gotta get a glizzy from Tim Hortons because that's what they say. Or this is all in quotes because this is not what they say. I wholeheartedly believed that a glazed donut
would be called a glizzy.
And I thought I heard before. I've heard the term glizzy before, and I was like, oh, that has to be a glazed donut because it sounds so similar. So it's a glazed donut, and it's for some reason my mind connected it with a Canadian slang term for a glazed donut, a glizzy. And Nick, the great friend that he is like, yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, for a while, for a few weeks, and I'm saying it's my new hot word that I say, and I'm like, you know what? I really gotta look this up.
Yeah, should I be saying glizzy? Because
this
doesn't really mean what I think it says.
And I looked it up, and it means hot dog.
It does mean hot dog. It's like a street.
It's like a Pittsburgh thing.
Yeah.
It's like a street dog.
Street dog.
Yeah, street mad dog.
Yeah. Get a glizzy.
And I'm like, my world crashed before my eyes. And I'm like,
but I still was
Nick.
none the wiser.
I left Nick in the dark for like a few days, and I'm like, I didn't bring up glizzy at all. I didn't say anything because I'm like, I can't do this. And I don't know when it was like a few days later. You're like, hey, get your glizzies up.
Yeah.
Something like that. And you're like, huh, I should look up glizzy. I don't know where it came from, but you're like, I should look it up. I'm like, don't look it up, Nick.
Yeah.
No,
you
Nick,
got really
Nick.
ashamed really fast. You're like, don't look it up. And I'm like, oh no, it's something really dirty. It's like something really bad.
Look, Nick, please, whatever you do, just don't look it up.
It's a hot dog.
And it's a hot dog. And you're like,
you're a fraud.
You're a fraud, Michael. You've been lying to me. You said it was a donut. So
yeah.
So all that to say, this dumb word has been a part of our vocab for months now, and I keep holding the joke that it means a glazed donut. I just keep saying it. But
you had to come face to face with a lot of glizzy in this movie.
the fact that this separate universe is where they have freaking glizzy hands.
It was pretty perfect.
It was so good.
I know. I was like trying to be like, okay, don't overhype this, Nick, and say it's a 10 out of 10 because it is the most Not Us United movie we've ever seen. So it's like, chill out. And I think that's why I'm like, hey, reel it back. There are some things in this movie that are pretty out there and kind of uncomfortable, but like the glizzy hands are right somewhere in the middle where I'm like, this is hilarious and uncomfortable. Like, kind of like Lady Gaga and Adam Driver and Gucci.
I'm not okay.
I'm not okay.
It was just like a perfect melting pot of like stupid Not Us United,
Correct.
but just a stupid idea.
It was almost like we manifested a dream movie.
Yeah, and there was
this
a
is what it
hot
was.
second where like they go to the bagel world and there's just a black circle, and you're like, oh my god, if this is a donut,
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna absolutely lose it.
Yeah. I wish we
was
could have
close.
recorded our commentary. Like, we didn't talk a lot, but there was enough there that, oof,
It was just like,
you missed some good ones.
dude, what's happening?
Dude, they're like, this is it. This is our movie.
Yeah,
It's just so artistic, but in all the right ways.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not pretentious. It's just like, hey, the story can only be told one way.
I think it's unapologetic.
Mm-hmm. Which, from the director, makes sense. Like, Crazy Rich Asians is like one of
Love that movie.
I love that movie too. Like, it's so good.
It might also be on the top 250. Who knows?
Yeah. And it's excellent. And not in like, sure, some of the same tropes of that movie exist elsewhere, but like it just delivers on such a different level that, again, it's like this movie.
Yeah.
There's some multiverse movies. There's time travel movies.
Yeah.
This one just does a little extra.
Yeah.
Has a little more care.
The only thing I could say, or the only way I could describe this movie, is it's The Matrix and About Time together.
Yes.
And I thought that clicked for me.
Yeah. And here's why this movie works so well. The core of this movie has nothing to do with multiverses.
No, it's insane. Yeah.
It's about a mother and a daughter communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's nothing new under the sun. Like that's a very like solid story. Like let's go through that. Here's just a really unique, crazy way to tell it, and they just did such a great job. And I think that's why I love About Time. This is very much the mother-daughter version of About Time.
Yeah.
It just has some crazy ass fights, and some stuff.
It is so much About Time where it's like, About Time didn't need to. It's a tale as old as About Time.
Correct.
Like a father and his son, and then but like having this different dynamic of the time travel. Mm-hmm. It's exactly the same thing, or exactly the same idea here, where it's like you're creating a story, but using this gimmick to do something new. That's the whole point. Yeah. Like we could have another daughter mother movie, and it'd be pretty good. Yeah. Like, yeah, I saw Lady Bird, and that was great. It was a great movie, but like we can only see so many of those. Right. This is a wholly unique idea. And I don't even know if it's ever going to... How could you repeat this movie? Like, what do you do that's different enough from this movie?
It's done. Mm-hmm. And that's also what's really nice and refreshing about it, too, is, like, you can just now go revisit it and pick up what you want. There's not going to be a sequel. Yeah. I think that we can confidently say there shouldn't be.
And even if there is, it would feel so bogged down. Even the silliness of it would feel like, oh, you're just trying... It just wouldn't feel the same. It's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And we're not even talking about the elephant in the room, that our boy Short Round from Indiana Jones in this movie. He took like a 20-year like acting hiatus and has shown up in the last 2 years and now pops off.
Yeah. With fantastic performance.
I'm not and I want to make sure I don't overshadow what's her name, because she's insane.
Michelle Yeoh?
Yeah. I mean, she's I'm not worthy. Yeah. Like, whatever. She's insane. However, our boy Short Round. Yeah. I need to stop calling him Short Round. What's his actual name? Ke Huy Quan?
Ke Huy Quan. Yeah, that sounds right. Close.
Literally pops off in this movie. Yeah. More iconic than anything else he's done, and he's only had iconic roles. Like, he's literally...
in two of the
Goonies and Indiana Jones. Yeah. And this is his best. Yeah. He did it.
The dynamic of him switching back and forth between it's
untouchable.
Oh, dude, it's just insane. Like, I can't stop saying insane with this movie because it is just so wholly unique. And the performances, like, this could have been the dumbest movie of all 100%. Time. It could have been the worst movie of all time, but it has this heart and it has this acting to it. And I think your favorite line, if you want to share, is by our boy. Oh, and yes. If you want to go into that, of like that's where the gut hits. Like, this movie is good and it's fun and it has like really great ideas.
Just keep going. Just you say it.
Oh, no, but like when it has that heart, when it has that moment of like, oh, this actually means something. It's not just nonsense. Mm-hmm. I forget the line, so you can say it.
Well, it has been a little bit. Let me remember. Essentially, yeah. No, what were you gonna say?
Laundry and taxes and whatever.
Oh, that's right. Oh, break my heart, dude. This guy. Ugh. Okay. Context. Husband in this movie, whatever. I guess you've already watched it because you're listening to the spoiler section. They're not doing super good in the main universe that they're at, but for some reason they all this tax fraud and stuff that they've done, they keep getting forgiven and like getting extensions, and the wife cannot figure out why. And it's because the husband keeps talking to the lady and whatever. And he like he basically is just so kind and just is honest instead of trying to like hide behind pride and like what could have been, that she realized that he's a good guy. But you get to see this in a different universe where they don't end up together, and she's starting to realize, oh, why am I not with you in this world? You look a lot better, you look a lot healthier, you look like, you know, you're sexier and more successful. And it basically comes out that she's like, in one of our past lives, or one of our other multiversal lives, we're just doing like laundry and taxes, and it's a really shitty life. And he goes, it seems like you haven't changed and that's why we never ended up together, because I would love to just do laundry and taxes with you for the rest of my life. I would have loved to have done that. And it's just like, dude, yes. Because that's what love is. Love isn't, like, at its root, what that person gives to you. It's who you want to spend that time with, you know? And he just realized, like, look, it's not about how great of a singer you are, or how, like, dope at this specific act you are. It's just about spending time together. And he just nails the line, and it just ripped my heart out in the theater, because I was like, now that's a line.
Yeah.
My dude. Shout out to Short Round.
Yeah. Raise a glass.
Raise a glass.
Yeah.
If he does not get nominated,
I'm burning down the theater. I'm slapping somebody.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm almost in tears, Nick.
Dude, he killed it.
Yeah.
And I know we're all over the place, but this movie was all over the place.
Yeah, so take it.
That's why we said you just need to go see it, because none of what we'll say next
makes any sense.
I think the critiques I would have for this film is, at one point, if you take the context of everything is kind of made up in the multiverse, so any object can be anything, it's not what it is at that present time. So then they just they use that and kind of run with it by making it like uncomfortable things.
Sure.
Like at one point, the daughter like is fighting dudes with like these huge dildos,
Oh, yeah.
and just beating the shit out of people, and you're just like, okay, that's kind of funny, but like still like weird. And at one point, the only way to multiverse jump is to do a random act that wouldn't quite make sense, that would put you on the trajectory of that multiversal thread. So, for instance, this could be something along the lines of eating a stick of chapstick. No one would do that, but it would put you on the right track to become the one guy who is good at Kung Fu for some reason. Whatever, movie reasons.
Yeah.
Paper cuts, whatever. Well, the main character kind of figures out how to semi-do this by just doing random acts, not being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then eventually the mob comes after her, and at one point they realize that the only way for them to get good fighting powers is to take this like trophy and shove it up their ass. And so it's just like, you're just like, oh no. It leads for a very funny moment.
Yeah.
But then it just kind of like keeps going and keeps pushing the line.
And then there's a longer trophy.
There's a longer trophy, and then there's
like
multiple
blurry,
guys that need to have it also. So it's just like, I get it. Hilarious. Iconic.
Butt stuff.
Honestly, because we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
But it's just one. It's just one. Let's go. It's also just. It's one of those things where I guess in the context of the film, it makes perfect sense that it would be something uncomfortable. But there were just a few scenes where it was like,
did you need to do that?
Yeah, like I think one guy had to have like sex with a lamp at one point.
Oh.
Like in the background, he was doing that.
Oh,
like that's his thing that makes him the multiverse version. It's just like, I get it, but it's just like,
oh yeah.
Sometimes it feels like that's forced in for no reason.
Sure.
But there's also a world with glizzy fingers where people bite them and mustard comes out of them. So it's like somebody's gonna feel uncomfortable at some point in this movie. If you don't like raccoons, I wouldn't recommend going to this movie. If you don't like glizzy fingers, I would specifically not recommend this movie.
That's somehow your very specific fear.
But there's just those types of things where you just kind of have to like, hey, this is
where we're going.
this is kind of the artistic choice they chose to be like, let's just go out there.
Yeah.
So
And I agree with that to a point where like they didn't have to do it sexually, I guess, or just
sure, but whatever.
But it's like it's different, at least.
Yeah.
It's not like
and it leads to some hilarious moments.
yeah, it's good, and yeah, I agree that when this movie just is just being silly for silly's sake, it's a little like, okay, we got it. You're having a good time.
Yeah.
But like when it has that heart, it's like, okay, it reels it back in.
Yeah.
So I think that is a knock at it where it's like, are you just trying to be different?
Right. I just think, like, if I'm going to say 8.5 recommend because it's so good, it almost just kind of feels like this isn't going to be for everybody.
No.
But the story is, and I want everyone to experience it. And
But
so
it's hard to recommend.
that's why it's hard, because I don't feel like there are certain things in this movie that you're just going to have to be like, wait, why did Nick recommend this to me? And then after a half an hour, it'll all make sense.
Yeah.
But for that half an hour, you're going to be really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to get through it. Because trust me, in the end, it's awesome. You'll cry. And they do a great job. It just used the medium of film and
Yeah.
did it in a very unique way.
Yeah.
But I think it will turn off some people, and that's why it's not for everyone.
No, it is 100% not for everybody.
But everyone should also watch it.
I know, yeah, because at least get your opinion on it. I think just what sticks out to me is a few things, but mainly there's a shot where it's like 30 seconds long, and it's like her face, and there's like 100 different versions of her
Yeah.
that go through, and it's just like that's just stuck in my mind of like just
The dedication.
the dedication to each frame of that. And to just be like, there's so much going on, and I thought that was just a really, really great job.
Yeah, it was like 10 seconds too long in a good way.
Yeah,
Where you're just like, holy shit, there's a lot of multiverse stuff. Like, they did an excellent job of getting me to feel like, whoa. Like, I would
Yeah.
love to go through that once it's out on digital and just pause.
yeah,
Because at one point, I think she's like a dude with like a mustache. At one point, she's not even a human. And like, I think I caught a few of those, but like, I'd love to actually go
Yeah.
see, because like, she dressed up like 100 times for a shot that took like 30 seconds.
Insane. Yeah,
It'd be really cool to see.
I want to see how much hair and makeup went into like that just section. I think I gotta say, my favorite universe, besides obviously the Glizzy Hands, the Rock universe, where they're just freaking rocks,
They are rocks.
And it takes like 3 minutes, and they're like just sitting there,
a good,
text box.
It's a good beat.
Oh, it's so good. And then it turns around, there's googly eyes. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm here. I'm here for
That's
it.
when you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is I know where we're at.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. But having each distinct universe
Yes.
is like, there wasn't like, and this one she has a gun, and this one she has a
Yeah.
laser gun. It's like,
Yeah.
here's a rock. But this other one she's like a singer, and this other one she's like has like these fingers, like her pinkies get super strong.
Yeah, she's like a kung fu fighter that
yeah.
fights with her pinkies. Yeah.
Mhm. It's just like the ideas that went behind this art just so unique and so
Agreed.
fun, and the rock is just so good.
Yeah.
And they're chasing each other. And it's so good.
There's just some wild movie. And some of those things in any other movie would be just
Ridiculous.
so stupid that it would actually like hurt the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's beautiful that a movie can set the table in such a way that a movie or a scene where two rocks are not physically talking to each other, but like
Have text
through
boxes.
subtitles makes sense is an achievement.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Seriously, like it's a really good movie.
I have one last main thought.
Please.
The last main thought of like, in the end, where it comes down to it does feel also very, very about time. Of like, you can do anything. You can be multi universe, infinite universe that you can be in. Why do you want to be in this one? It's because you're here. It's because I want to be in this moment with you.
Whoa.
And so it's like, that's great. And that's that whole about time. It's like, I could go back in time and relive all the greatest moments, but I'm going to live this moment. And
Yes.
I'm gonna cherish this moment. It came down very similar points that I just really enjoyed. Of I want to be here with you. I know I could be a singer, or I could be a kung fu star, or I could be a rock.
Yeah.
But I want to be here.
Yeah, like the beautiful irony of the whole movie is that the reason why she is capable of doing this is that she is the weakest, worst version
Right.
of all of her multiverse. Because, like, she doesn't, like, quote unquote, is very successful in certain areas or not very talented in certain areas. And she's actually, like, the worst at being a mom in this scenario. But because she's freed up and she has no natural, like, things that, like, lead her to be a worse mom or neglect her family or whatever, she actually, like, comes to realize that she can be the most present mom
Yes.
in this scenario.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's just this really cool moment where it's like, yeah, you could be really good at singing, I guess, but you won't have a husband, and that means you won't have the daughter, and I guess you can just sing.
Yeah.
Cool, have fun. Or you could be the miserable laundromat version owner of you who has a failing marriage and a daughter who hates you, but you could try now.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that? She's like, yeah, this is the best version.
Yeah.
Let's do that one.
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
It's like, dude, yes. And it's like a beautiful thing for all of us to be like, look, the grass may be greener over there, but it could mean that you don't have what you have around you right now. And I don't think you're really seeing how green it truly is
Yeah.
and what you're capable of doing here. And that's the same thing about Time, you know?
Yeah.
It's like he realized that, yeah, I love my dad and would love to see him, but every time I do that after I have a kid, it messes up what kid I have. And the truth is, those kids are important to me, and I can't just replace them because I want to see my dad.
Yeah.
I'm going to give that up and just be the best I can be presently, you know? So it's just like great lesson amidst batshit craziness.
Yes. But that's why it's a good movie.
That's why it's a good movie. It gets you to talk about it, and I think because it's such a simple story, it can just go anywhere because
Yes.
at the end, it will make sense, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think if you can just kind of hold on, it's like a roller coaster where it's like, you know, you're gonna have fun, and you know it will end, and you'll be fine. But you might have to
You gotta hang on for the ride.
hang on for just a little bit. There's going to be a part that makes you uncomfortable. And just trust me, 20 minutes, it'll be over.
Yeah. 20 minutes.
Maybe. And then you'll be uncomfortable somewhere else. It's a wild movie, though.
It's great. I'm sticking with my 9 out of 10.
Yep. Not enough people are talking about this movie. And even though, like, certain areas weren't, like, my cup of tea, and I think the pacing of it was, like, a little funky at times, where it was, like, the first act was, like, 75% of the movie, and then it was, like, bang, bang
Yeah.
for the last 2 acts. Just stuff like that, where it's just, like, whatever. But, overall,
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
And I think it's like, oh no, I thought it was sub 2 hours, but it's actually not. I thought
Just a little
it's
over.
like 2:20. I thought I was gonna praise it for being like, oh yeah, and it's sub 2 hours, and they did all this, but yeah. I take it.
No, I mean, it needed that to
Yeah.
do all the things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just don't think I'm gonna see a movie like this for a long time.
agreed.
Yeah.
I'm glad that these types of things can still be made with people who care about making them. Like,
Yeah.
I could see this movie existing. It was just a bunch of college students with, like, no budget that had a great story, and they just unfortunately didn't get enough funding, and so, like, it just doesn't end up being a movie that gets to you. But this was one of those rare occurrences where, like, they took a chance. Like, I have no idea what the sales pitch was on this and
Yeah.
how they got away with it, but, like, I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
Because it's solid. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely gonna be in my collection. Like,
I'm
gonna
buying it
have
as
in
soon
this
as
movie.
possible. Yeah.
But like I said, there's just enough that doesn't make it for everyone that I just can't say that it's it's perfect.
10 out of 10.
You know,
I can agree with that.
so
Well, I'm sure you may not have heard, actually, a review of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, but you have heard from us and many of the ultimate multiverses of us, where Nick and I still got together because this podcast is eternal.
that's right. Not Us United will exist.
yeah.
In every multiverse.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Not Us United. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.
You've just listened to Not Us United. You can find us under Nodish United on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Please leave us a review and consider subscribing to our podcast. You can reach out for future podcast topic suggestions at nodishunitedpod@gmail.com.